Hi there, Emily Midget here with you today on the Pinkfresh Studio YouTube channel, and today I have a vintage-inspired holiday thank you card created using the beautiful Tidings of Great Joy stamp set. For this project, we're going to be using the Tidings of Great Joy stamp set, which creates a beautiful holiday-themed border around the edge of your card front. And then it's paired with the coordinating dies, which makes it create kind of a frame. We're going to pair that with the intricate stitched ovals background die to create a beautiful textured background. And then we're going to add the Sentiment Suite thank you die, which this set has hot foil plates and dies. We're just going to use the intricate dies today. So I'm starting off by stamping. I do stamp this a few times with my embossing ink onto some watercolor paper, the Tidings of Great Joy stamp set. This is a beautiful border stamp set. And I did stamp it a few times just to make sure that I got all of that beautiful detail. And now we're going to heat emboss it with some gold embossing powder. This card today is it's kind of an homage to that vintage Christmas color scheme with the gold and the bright, cheerful red and the deep green. And we're going to do some watercoloring with these today with some Caron markers. You can see the beautiful detail on that. And now I've just used the coordinating die to die cut the inner section of that image, and it creates this really festive, beautiful frame. So I am using my Caron markers, and I'm going to show you guys how I use the Caron markers. I have two different techniques with the Caron markers. I like to either scribble the Caron markers out onto my glass work surface or palette and then pick that color up with my paintbrush, as you can see that I'm doing here. And this creates kind of a little bit more muted, a little bit less vibrant and intense color. And this is really a great way to stretch your watercoloring supplies by making sure that you get multiple levels of intensity of color. So you can see that I am using this first technique. I've scribbled out the color onto my glass mat, and then I'm just picking that color up with my damp paintbrush and putting it onto the watercolor paper. You can see I've cleaned my brush and dabbed it on my stamp chamois, and I'm pulling that color out, and you can see the different levels of color intensity and variation on this on the house versus the flowers. I can kind of maneuver that color around to make it a little bit more intense up towards the top of the house where there would be a little bit of shadow from the roof, and it lightens as it heads toward the bottom where there would be a little bit more brightness from the sunshine hitting the house. At least that's how it works in my head. So now we're going to use the second technique that I like to use with watercolor markers, like these Caron markers. I am putting the marker directly to the paper, and you can see how super vibrant and intense that color is when you put that marker directly to the paper. This is one way that I like to stretch my markers because I can get multiple shades, multiple levels of intensity with that color by using these two different techniques, by interchanging them. And so it makes it easy to create a very cohesive color scheme on the entire front of my card. By using both of these techniques, I can get more mileage and more color out of more different shades of color out of just a few markers. We're only going to be using 3 different colors on this card front today, and it creates a very lovely overall cohesive feel to it. So now I'm going back to the first technique where I've scribbled a little bit of color out onto my glass mat, and I'm picking that color up with my damp paintbrush. Adding that extra water to the color on my glass mat, it helps to dilute the color down. Think of it like adding white paint to a color. It helps to dilute that clean water, helps to dilute that color down and make it a little bit less intense and a little bit less vibrant. So you get multiple levels of color on this card front. Now here you can see that I am mixing brown and green together because those last few sprigs of greenery, we want that to have a little bit of difference from the other ones. So we are adding just a little bit of brown to the green, and now I'm finishing up the roof and adding a little bit. I'm doing a little bit of cleanup here because I did get a little bit of brown on my roof or on my house. So now we can see this is the finished product. Very simple. It took me probably less than 20 minutes to color this entire image just because the images were simple, and so I didn't have to go super overboard with adding shadows and depth. So now we're going to be using some matte gold foil cardstock with the intricate stitched ovals background. If you really want to make your stitched background dies from Pinkfresh shine, I encourage you to try using them with matte foil cardstock because I think that is just such a beautiful way to enhance those beautiful patterns on the background, the stitched background dies. So now we're going to work with the Sentiment Sweet Thank You. I wanted to create just a simple holiday thank you card. I could have turned this into a shaker, but I decided I just wanted to leave it as just a regular old thank you card. Just something simple that you could pop in the mail. So I am using the background portion of the intricate, of the Sentiment Sweet Thank You dies. This is kind of the bubble portion around the intricate section. I've cut that from vellum, and then I'm cutting the intricate dies, the actual words, from some gold glitter foam. When I'm working with multiple types of metallic accents, I like to vary the textures a little bit. So we have the gold embossing, we have the matte gold foil background, and then we have this glittery gold sentiment that I have cut using, I believe it's from Spellbinders, this gold glitter foam. And I'm using some liquid adhesive to adhere that to the vellum background piece. That vellum just kind of helps that, that gold glitter foam kind of stand out a little bit from the gold background because that gold background is very shiny. It's kind of intense. So we need that, that kind of a buffer of the vellum to help make that sentiment pop. So now we're going to add some foam tape around that watercolored frame that we have created. And I am using quite a bit of foam tape on here because I want to make sure that it holds up well in the mail. This is a holiday thank you card for some of the beautiful goodies that my husband and I have received from friends. So now I am just adding that to my intricate stitched ovals background die cut piece with that foam tape, and it just, that little bit of extra height helps to make those beautiful images pop even more from that background. And I'm going to add the thank you die cuts at an angle, again, with just some tiny dots of liquid adhesive because you don't want that liquid adhesive to show through on the vellum. But I'm going to add them at an angle because, I don't know, this card screams vintage to me. And if you think about the advertisements and things like that from the 50s, everything was kind of at an angle. It was a very jaunty, lots of really great advertising graphics. So I'm adding tiny little dots of adhesive just behind the solid portions of the die cut. And then I'm adhering that to the center of my intricate stitch ovals background. And now to accent this, I'm going to use a few of the glitter drops. I'm going to use the Ruby and Jade glitter drops that Pinkfresh released a few months ago. And I'm going to create some kind of little sprigs of holly berries. And I'm just going to, it's just kind of the suggestion of holly berries. I'm going to create little clusters of the ruby for the berries. And then I'm going to add some of the jade green ones for the leaves, for the foliage. So I'm just kind of arranging them in a little cluster, and then I'm going to adhere them with liquid adhesive. And they just help to kind of add one more element of shine and sparkle because I don't know about you, but I can't get enough of sparkles and shine on my holiday cards, even holiday thank you cards. So those sparkly gems really help kick it up a notch. So that's all for this card. I hope you enjoyed this super easy, quick thank you note that you can pop in the mail for sending, thank you to your friends for all of the holiday goodies that you've received. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. If you liked the video, maybe give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to see some more content from us in the future. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.